The afternoon sun was slanting through the blinds when I first heard Jason's voice calling from the living room. He was 22 then, tall with a lanky frame that made him look younger than his age, though his eyes carried the weight of someone who had seen more than he should have. I had always been close to him. After his parents divorced when he was only 10, he spent countless weekends at my place. Over time, he became more like a little brother than my nephew. I watched him grow, listened to his frustrations, celebrated his small victories, and tried my best to be the person he could always lean on. That day, though, there was something different in his tone, hesitation, nerves, as if he were balancing a secret on his tongue. I dried my hands on the dish towel and looked toward him. "What's up, Jason? You sound like you've got something on your mind." He shuffled in, sat down on the edge of the couch, and stared at his hands. "Aunt Sarah, can I ask you something personal? I mean really personal." My stomach tightened. Jason wasn't the type to open up easily. When he asked something personal, it meant it had been gnawing at him for a while. I set the towel aside and gave him my full attention. "Of course. You know you can tell me anything." He exhaled sharply, running a hand through his dark hair. "Do you ever feel like our family hides things? Like there are secrets no one talks about?" The question caught me completely off guard. My mind raced, wondering what exactly he meant. "What kind of secrets are you talking about?" I asked carefully. Jason's gaze shifted toward the floor, then back at me. Finally, he whispered, "I found some old letters. In Mom's drawer. They weren't from Dad." A heavy silence filled the room. My sister, Karen, had always presented herself as the perfect mom, the put-together woman who could handle anything. She had raised Jason with a firm hand, worked hard, and carried herself like someone who had nothing to hide. But now Jason was telling me he had stumbled across something that could dismantle that carefully built image. "What did the letters say?" My voice was soft, cautious. "They were from someone named Mark," he said, swallowing hard. "From the dates, they go back years. I don't know if she was actually seeing him, but it looks like it. And if she was, it means she was cheating on Dad all that time." The words landed like a punch to the chest. Karen had confided in me over the years about frustrations in her marriage with Tom, Jason's dad. She'd hinted at loneliness, at feeling invisible, but she had never admitted anything like this. I stared at Jason, his face twisted with confusion and pain, and my heart broke. "I don't know what to do," he continued, his voice trembling. "I don't want to hate her, but I can't stop thinking about it. Why would she lie to us?" I reached out, taking his hand gently. "Jason, listen to me. Sometimes adults make choices that don't make sense to younger people. That doesn't mean your mom doesn't love you. It just means she's human. But this isn't something you should have to carry by yourself." He pulled his hand back, shaking his head. "No, Aunt Sarah. If she finds out I went through her drawer, she'll never forgive me. I need to know if I'm crazy for thinking she cheated on Dad." His plea cut deep. I had always been honest with him, and I couldn't lie now. "You're not crazy. If those letters are what you think they are, then yes, it looks like she was unfaithful. But that's not your fault. You didn't ask to find them." Jason sat back, his shoulders slumping as though the air had been sucked from his lungs. That conversation was the beginning of something none of us could have predicted. What started as my nephew's request for guidance spiraled into an unraveling of truths our family had buried for years. A few days later, Karen came over for coffee. She was her usual polished self, dressed neatly, chatting about work and neighborhood gossip. But as I watched her, Jason's words echoed in my mind. I couldn't stop looking at her and wondering how much she had hidden, how much she had risked. Then, halfway through our conversation, Karen's voice faltered. She leaned across the table, her hands wrapped tightly around her coffee cup, and sighed. "Sarah, can I be honest with you about something I've been carrying for years?" My pulse quickened. It was as if the universe itself had orchestrated this moment. I nodded slowly. "Of course." Karen's eyes filled with tears. "I made mistakes in my marriage. Big ones. There was someone else, a man named Mark. It was never supposed to happen, but it did. And it lasted longer than it should have." I froze. She had no idea Jason had already uncovered the truth. My heart pounded as I realized the weight of what she was admitting. "I ended it years ago," she whispered. "I thought those letters were gone. I burned most of them, but maybe I missed a few. If Jason ever found out," she trailed off, her voice cracking. I wanted to tell her then and there that Jason already knew, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I asked, "Why are you telling me this now?" Karen looked at me with raw vulnerability. "Because keeping it bottled up is killing me." I tried to convince myself it was just a mistake, but the truth is, it was more than that. And I've lived with the guilt every day. Her confession left me reeling. I wanted to protect Jason, to protect her, to protect everyone from the explosion this truth would cause. But secrets like these don't stay buried forever. And sure enough, the cracks started spreading. Jason grew quieter in the days that followed. He avoided his mom's calls, made excuses not to see her. I noticed the tension every time her name came up, and I knew he was struggling to carry what he knew. Eventually, it came to a breaking point one evening at my house. We were sitting on the porch when Jason finally burst. "I can't do this anymore, Aunt Sarah. I can't sit here and pretend I don't know. I see her face and all I can think about is those letters. I need her to tell me the truth." I sighed, knowing this moment was inevitable. "If you want answers, Jason, then you need to talk to her. You deserve honesty. But you also need to be prepared for the fact that the truth might hurt." The next weekend, Jason asked his mom to meet him at my house. He wanted me there as a buffer, and Karen agreed, unaware of what was about to come. She arrived smiling, carrying a pie she had baked, oblivious to the storm waiting inside. Jason sat at the kitchen table, his face pale, his jaw tight. The moment she set the pie down, he looked at her with eyes that pierced straight through her. "Mom," he said flatly, "who's Mark?" The color drained from her face. The room fell silent, heavy with the weight of the question. Karen's hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the counter. "Jason, how do you know that name?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I found the letters," he said, his voice cracking. "Don't lie to me, Mom. Just tell me the truth." Karen's eyes filled with tears, her lips trembling. She glanced at me, searching for help, but I stayed quiet.